Good morning, Jay. And Santana there. Very nice. Thank you. Yeah, the numbers are out from the Customs and Border Patrol, the Border Protection Office, showing that there's been an unprecedented drop in the number of people apprehended at the southern border. People who either made it into the country or were stopped at the border and turned back around and sent the other way. Normally, during January and February, you see a 10 to 20% increase in people trying to get into the country. Now you've seen this 40% drop. It all coincides with the inauguration of Donald Trump. Of course, he ran, as you know, Jay, on this platform of trying to increase the enforcement of immigration laws.
Do we really need a wall then?
That's a good point. I mean, he's already dedicated or promised to dedicate millions of dollars to hiring new Border Patrol agents, potentially billions of dollars to the construction of a physical barrier. But there is this perception of an increased risk of trying to sneak into the country. The perception itself is apparently providing some barrier and keeping some people out. So, I mean, that does raise that question. Is perception as powerful as a physical wall?
Now, Jim, this is one period of time, and it's is there really an indication that that this is a dramatic long-term drop, or is this kind of a blip on the screen?
Well, obviously we can't know until later this year and look at these numbers compared with last year's numbers. But even the folks who were compiling these numbers were shocked to see this sort of decline. I think they suspected that given the climate right now, the political climate and the social climate, there would be some kind of drop-off. But it's expected, I think, at least through the middle half of this year, that there will be a lingering decline, even though no real policy changes have taken place. The executive orders haven't been fully implemented yet, so it's essentially and probably just word of mouth.
I'm always a little curious and maybe a little skeptical when they say, the people caught crossing the border has decreased, because that says that people are catching fewer people crossing the border. You can decrease the number of people that are caught by just being less vigilant. Any indication that that's the case?
Not really. You're right, because there's no way of knowing it. It's 11 million illegals in the country. It's just a rough estimate. There's no way of knowing, obviously, because people are not here in plain sight, or they're not raising their hands and saying, I'm not here illegally. So you're right. I mean, there could certainly be some factor playing into it, that people are getting more successful at coming into the country. But consider this also, that all along the border, the southern border from Texas all the way to California, you have an array of surveillance equipment, high-tech cameras and aerostats, these balloons that are keeping tabs on the U.S.-Mexico border. This is cast-off stuff from the Department of Defense surplus that's been used overseas, and now it's being put to use along the border to secure the frontier. So I think, to say that the technology and the vigilance has dropped off, I think the opposite is true. There are more Border Patrol agents, and there's more technology keeping tabs on the border.
And isn't that exactly what we wanted? Enforce the laws that we have, and it's working.
Well, it seems to be, and again, Customs, it's weird to see this news release. It seems almost to be screaming these numbers out and celebrating this. But yeah, I think that people who wanted to see a decrease in illegal immigration are getting exactly what they asked for.
I guess another possibility is that given the climate for immigrants in this country, that it is not as an attractive place for people coming not only from Mexico but from many countries, and that has an impact.
Sure. Yeah, I think you're right. There's also the possibility that economic conditions are improving somewhat in Mexico and in South and Central America, where most illegal immigration is coming from these days. It's not Mexico, but jumping down south of that to Central America, that's where people are coming from. So if conditions have improved there somewhat, then you'll have less of an incentive to make that dangerous trek up north to the United States.
Yeah. Bottom line, it's positive news for those that are in favor of tightening our borders, and we'll see if it holds.
Right. I mean, these numbers come out every month or every quarter, and we'll see what, in fact, if this is a trend or if it was just a fluke.
Yeah. Jim Ryan, ABC News correspondent from Dallas. Thank you very much. Have a nice week.